time. It's go time. It's go time. It's go time. It's go time. Welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. I went and did something stupid again. Bought another boat. I know you can't believe it. I did it. I saw the motor and I couldn't resist. I saw the price. I really couldn't resist. Now, the motor that's in this boat is a motor that people say run far away, run away from it as fast as you can, because there's so many more boats out there with so many more better motors than this one has. But this motor intrigues me. It's unique. It's a 3.7 liter. It's a Mercruiser 470. It's 170 horse 4-cylinder. It's got pistons the size of coffee cans. I swear it's got to be that big. They're huge. But the nice thing about this boat is a 1982 Rinker, and it has been unmolested as far as people messing with wiring and drilling holes in it and doing all kinds of weird stuff to it. Somebody started to do some refurbishing and then they quit, which is perfect. It left me with a blank canvas to decide as to what I want to do. Let's take a walk around and see what this thing's all about. Alright, now you guys can see what I was talking about when I mentioned blank canvas. Somebody has already gutted this thing. It's down to the fiberglass floor. That's perfect, because I get to see what the floor is all about. The floor is actually in pretty good shape. It's like 95% excellent condition. I'm going to do a little work on it. I'll put some new carpet in it. I might turn this into my next fishing boat. We'll see. Here's that 470 Mercruiser 470 motor. This is a 3.7 liter, 170 horse motor, 230 some foot-pounds of torque it generates, I guess. This is an interesting motor for the simple fact it's an aluminum block motor with a Ford 390 head on it. So it's like one of the heads that's off the V8 390s is on it. It's got a heat exchanger. It's got a coolant tank, because this has a closed loop coolant system on it. It uses the heat exchanger here to keep the block cool. That works. This heat exchanger works like your radiator, is my understanding. Let's walk around to the back. This thing has already on it a beautiful turbo stainless 20 pitch prop. It's got a Mercruiser Alpha 1 outdrive that doesn't sag down. All the boats I have, including the one I fish out of, has this Alpha 1, and you usually have to tie them up to something like this to keep them from drooping down, because the hydraulics leak on them. They get old and they leak. This one does not. It was up in the picture. It was up when I bought it. It's up now. Now, well, it might be stuck. I don't know. We're going to put a battery to it and find out. It came with this trailer. I don't know what brand trailer it is right off the top of my head, but it's a nice trailer. I'm impressed with it. It's got 14-inch tires on it. The tread's in good shape. It's got the rollers down the center. It's got guide rollers on the side. It's got 2 wood bunks underneath. And like I said, the gauges are sketchy. The steering wheel looks nice. I'm not unhappy with that. Here's a view of that motor from the other side. It's got, the guy had already rebuilt the carburetor, had it running earlier this summer, and decided he didn't want a project this big. Fuel pump, brand new fuel pump on it. Checked the oil checked good. The coolant looks good. I will, as I get into more detail with this motor in later episodes, what the goods and the bads are, why people say run away from this motor. They built this motor from 1976 to 1989, I believe it was. But as you can see on the front here, there is no alternator. Right down here behind this harmonic balancer looking thing is actually a stator. They're notorious for going out, and that's a problem. But they have external bolt-on alternator kits that you can put on these and go to a regular external alternator. The other thing they can have problems with is the right behind this little plate right here is the water pump that circulates the water just like it does in an automobile, basically. Well, if that seal goes out on the wrong side, it lets the water go into your engine block. That's a problem. Those are the 2 biggest ills about this motor. Other than that, that's the most I've read about them being a problem. One thing I will do is I will convert this to electronic ignition. I will put a flamethrower coil on here. we will get more spark and more juice into this thing and get optimal performance. But that's not till after I check compression. We're going to do compression test today. We're going to do a test startup today in this video. Let's do some more looking around. So the hull on this thing is actually in really good shape. This thing will buff out. It will look nice. The front here is missing all the cushions as well, but that works out good for me because I'm not throwing away good stuff. I am going to probably turn this whole top area into my casting deck. And then I have, then down below here, down to this deeper area, that could be a live well, that can be my battery bay. I can put all kinds of stuff underneath this thing. It's going to be magnificent. Trying to think of it. The other cool part, all the trailer lights worked when I picked it up. Every one of the marker lights, everything works. So it was an uneventful trip home for this boat in this trailer. But yeah, I'm impressed. It's a little heavier than my aluminum boat, but it's an 18-foot 6-inch boat, and it's really wide. It's like almost, it's like 2 inches shy of 6 foot across the beam here, the center in here. So there's tons of space to work with in here. Like I said, a blank canvas. I'm excited. Let's drop a battery in this thing and let's see how many gauges work. And we're going to check compression. I'm going to pull spark plugs next to look at the spark plugs. We're going to spray a little something down the cylinders to kind of make sure we're not turning it over dry. And then we're going to check compression. And then we're going to put that fuel line that's hanging right there into a fuel can and see if we can get this thing to come to life. Let's get after it. All right, one of the first things I'm going to do before we fire this motor up is I pulled the spark plugs out. I'll show you what they look like. They're pretty darn dark. They're fouled out, in my opinion. But what I did is I put some fogging oil down in there. I'm going to roll these cylinders over, but I didn't want to roll them over when they're dry. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it over now and see if any of the electronics or anything work on this thing right now. So I got battery hooked up. Let's see what happens. Ready? poor thing. Terrible connections here. The ground wire was warm. A little bit. Tight. Bring another heat exchanger. Once I get it rolling like that, hit it, reach over and pop it right in there. Pliers or pliers light? Those are light.
Pliers, no, there's some real good pliers in there. Yeah, half that cable is hanging out of the edge.
Yeah, this is really. Look like new connections, but they should have put loops on it or something. Half-assed it. up. It's ready to be stored for the winter. So what I did was drain the heat exchanger to winterize it. It's a closed loop system. It's got antifreeze in it, which is kind of a neat setup actually. I kind of like that, but like I said before, it has its own problems. So we got it tarped. I got it vacuumed out on the inside. It's pretty clean on the inside. This is where it's going to spend its winter, slumber. As I said before, there's some other things with this motor I want to work on. We were not able to get it started. The compression checked out good. I'm happy with the compression I saw. I'm not happy with some of the wiring. So wiring is one of the issues, with the wiring to the battery, some other wiring in the boat I want to go over a little bit better. I'm pretty confident that the timing's not right. If the point gap wasn't right, somebody had played around with that. It means they had the distributor cap off, and who knows what other wires they got right or wrong, because that thing, when I shot ether down the throat of the carburetor and I had spark, it should have kicked at least once. It wasn't kicking at all. As a matter of fact, it was acting like it was firing in the wrong order, which was making the starter struggle even harder, even though I didn't have a great battery connection. So that's where we're going to leave this one. I'm going to wait for some warm weather. We've got some 41-degree weather today, so I'm going to take advantage of working on another project I picked up. I got to do some cleaning up and power washing on it. I need to do it while it's not freezing outside. So we're going to do that. Yeah, I got a little laundry list of things I want to do to this thing, as far as check timing, check the wiring, firing order, check the pump, or not the pump. Yeah, the fuel pump, make sure it is pumping fuel for one. The person I got it from did put a new one on. Put 4 bolts on the carburetor. Didn't put all 4 nuts back on the studs to hold the carburetor down. Just put 3 out of the 4. If you're willing to do that and think you did a good job, I really question what's going on the inside. The needle valve seats that adjust the idle mixture were backed out a long ways, a whole long ways. They shouldn't have been backed out as far as they were, so I suspect, and one of them looks bent. So there's some issues going on there I want to address before I actually fire it up and try to run it. My goal for this boat would be to get the engine running, see how well it runs running off the hose. Once it's running off the hose, good. Seems like everything's fine, and I'll drop it in the water. And then we'll see how it performs on the water. I got some portable seats I'll put in it for us to drive around in on the water. Try that out. If it's got good power, sounds good, runs good, as long as I got a good power plant in it, I'm not afraid to go after finishing the interior. And I'm thinking I'm going to make this possibly my new fishing boat. I've been fishing out of the Starcraft for a couple of years now. I'll probably take next summer to fix this one up, and maybe year number 4 of me fishing, I'll get back out. I'll do it in this boat versus my Starcraft and transfer all my electronics. But this thing's got to prove that it's capable before I do that. So, and that's what I'll be doing. So please feel free to leave a comment. I know this motor, people say stay far away from, run away from this motor because it has little quirky things about it. But I feel confident in my mechanical abilities that I can work through these little quirky things, make them better. I'm going to go after the water pump, make sure the seals on that water pump look good. Out drive, I'll make sure the water pump for there looks good, and a few other things I'll pay some close attention to. But and then I'll figure out how I want to finish this interior and set it up for some fishing and some camping overnights on the water, even type of situation. So stay tuned. This is part 1 of many parts to come. There might be quite a little stint between this one and the next part 2 of this. But I ask you to be patient. I'll have other projects I'll be working on in between. Keep making videos throughout the winter. The winters in Iowa get a little tough to work outside. I'm going to work on possibly getting my shop insulated and heated so I can actually continue working through the winter on some of this stuff and get more bang for my time at home. So thank you folks for watching. Appreciate your time and your efforts to subscribe and hit the like button if you like what you see. Feel free to leave comments. I try to answer all comments as they come to me. Sometimes they get to be a little overwhelming at times, but I'll get to them as soon as I can. If there's any other content you'd like to see, feel free to throw me some suggestions. Like I said, this is just a day in the life of me and my hobbies and what I want to do, and if I can teach somebody something new along the way, that's what I like to do. So Plus, it's also a good reference point for me if I want to remember how I did something. I can go back and look at my own videos, so that's not all bad either. So, folks, thanks for watching. Get out there and do something fun. Enjoy life. Whether it's hot or whether it's cold, enjoy doing something. Pick a hobby, pick something. You got to figure out, why do you want to get up in the morning? What gets you out of bed? What motivates you to get you to do other things? You got to have something to look forward to. You absolutely have to have something to look forward to. If you have nothing to look forward to, you will be unmotivated, in my opinion. So find something you like, that you like looking forward to doing. Get out there, do it, have fun. Michael out.